starting now?
It's starting now, Kenny.
Okay, so one of the good ideas that we had for the ASHE the car, was to use a fuel cell, and coincidentally, that is my senior design project. And so I'm going to give a presentation today on polymer electrolyte membrane fuel cells, basically PEMFC. So it will be, by the time this presentation ends, hopefully it will be a good idea to use this kind of design or this kind of idea for our car. So we could begin. Okay, so fuel cells, they operate differently from batteries. They use a polyelectrolyte membrane, and that membrane is special because it has the ability to transfer protons through it, and it can block electrons at the same time. Now, the most commonly used membrane for our fuel cells in general, actually, PEM fuel cells, are Nafion, and the chemical structure for Nafion is shown right here. And the Nafion structure is very simple, actually. It was complicated to make, but it's easy to understand. The backbone is composed of kind of like Teflon backbones. They just repeat over and over again. And coming out from this Teflon backbone is a chain of oxygen, carbon, fluorine atoms, and that kind of extends outwards. And it extends outwards, and at the very end is a very important, are two very important ions: the SO3 ion and the hydrogen negative proton. That actually is responsible for the mechanism that that makes it work. Because when this material, this Nafion material, is a film, right, and it's exposed to water, in other words, if it's hydrolyzed, right, the hydrogen proton would be free to move, right? And when it moves around, it leaves the SO3 negative ion hanging onto the rest of the molecule, and that blocks any further electrons from going or passing through the membrane. And the hydrogen fuel cell operates with two different kind of reactions. The hydrogen side is a hydrogen half reaction that releases the electron. The electron then has to travel around the membrane because it can't go through the membrane, and that's how we get it to release electricity. And a proton goes through the membrane because of the Nafion, because of the properties that Nafion has. And on the other side, you have the reaction between hydrogen and oxygen that makes water. And it's because of these two reactions that makes the fuel cell green. And you'll have the palladium catalyst that separates the hydrogen into proton and electrons. You have the catalyzed reactions. This doesn't happen itself. So you put this, you have this, and here's a really good representation of how it works. Right? You have hydrogen entering on one side. The electron will go around. The protons will go through the Nafion membrane, and it will react to the oxygen and produce water. So when you put it all together, here's a good diagram of what the fuel cell looks like in my lab. It's very simple. You have several have the membrane in the center. You have electrodes, and you put the whole thing together. So, right. So fuel cells in general, they have a lot of good applications. Some of the future applications are, they want to put in notebook computers, make it last a really long time, and make it more green. I don't know how far away. I don't know how realistic that is, but it's definitely an idea. And in terms of charging small electrical devices like iPods and phones, that's actually also a good idea. That something that you can integrate with fuel cell technology. And then you have smartphones. That's really far off, but it would be really cool if you had your BlackBerry being operated on a fuel cell. It's just really amazing. But aside from future applications, we actually have several applications that are already implemented today, and they're actually being mass-produced in the industry. So one of the things that GM has done is they created a fuel cell that powers homes. It's really big. You see the guy standing there. The fuel cell's in the back area. It's pretty big, and they started mass-producing this, I think, a couple of years ago. I don't remember, but it's good enough, and there are a couple of these around in several houses that generate power. And then you have the first certified boat, Hydra, in Germany, that runs completely on fuel cells. And then you have a submarine, also in Germany, that operates on fuel cells. I'm not sure if it's a hybrid, but it definitely utilizes the technology that is coming out, or that discovered before. So then you have cars. So this is a really popular industry. This is a picture of the interior of a Toyota car. It's very nice actually, and things are coming out. More and more things are coming out every day. And to take it a step further, in 2003, BOA has actually considered making a plane that runs on fuel cells. So even though they haven't really done anything, like they said that they were going to do more things in an interval of 10 years, they already tested this plane in 2003. So it's shaping our future. It's definitely going to become an integrated part of our lives. So, right. So if we make a fuel cell for our car, we have some costs to look over. Now, I went online to kind of just get a general idea of how much it costs, and I went to fuelcellsearth.com, and I went in as if I was going to be buying it. And the one thing you need for sure is the naphthalene membrane. The naphthalene membrane costs around $50 to $80, around $60 for about 15 centimeters by 15 centimeters. That's like 6 inches by 6 inches of film. The thing is that this is only one film. We'll most likely need more than one, because just one cell, right, by itself, like the cell in my lab, that generates about 200 milliwatts of power. So we'll most likely need more than one, but just one film would be around $60. You need the catalyst, right? The catalyst comes with carbon black. It's like platinum, but it's platinum, but they mix it with carbon black, and they sell that catalyst by itself. That itself is like $28. It's like $62. They come in lower concentrations of platinum, but you really need the platinum to kind of catalyze the hydrogen. That makes the fuel cell work better. But I think the 10% one was like half price, maybe $40, I remember. And you'll definitely need the electron backing, that the electrode backing that lets the electricity flow through your circuit and to get it to do whatever you want. But I looked around a lot, and they actually offered to make the whole electrode with the catalyst, with the naphthalene together for you, and that comes out to be $225. That's the cheapest one, using a 10% weight of platinum, and it's only for one. So if you were to make 2 of them, that would be $450. So that's not including the cost of the other stuff, like the wheels, the wood, but that's just a general idea. Some of the things that I decided maybe we wouldn't need to buy individual parts. Rather than building it, we could buy the fuel cell itself. And one of the good things that they do offer on a different site, fuelcellstore.com, is they sell fuel cells already made for you. So the cheapest one on the site is $86.06. That is a single cell that produces about 200 milliwatts of power and runs on air and hydrogen. They do have one that runs on pure oxygen and hydrogen, but it's slightly cheaper. I would say $83, but I don't know if you guys want to use that. But it's around the range of $80-something. But the problem is the power output is really low. It's 200 milliwatts. I don't know how much we really need for our car. But so I looked at some other things, and they actually had a whole combination of fuel cells put together. They had one fuel cell that composes of 10 individual cells, and that adds up to be $491 and $492 approximately. That generates about 2 watts of power, and it's a lot, but I don't know how much we'll need. But that's basically the price range that we're looking at. Okay, so that's just kind of the gist of what we'll need for just the core of our car. We haven't talked about the motor yet. We haven't talked about the design or anything like that. So, all right. So, do you guys have any questions? Okay, so yeah, that'd be it.